This is the Samsung Z Fold 8 in its glorious new shape, and not to spoil this review video, but I think that this is the best foldable out there. I know, a very bold claim, but I've been daily driving the Z Fold 8 for the last 2 weeks, and so many things about this foldable just makes sense. The ability to have a fully functioning smartphone on the cover screen for day-to-day tasks that can transform to a tablet in just a moment's notice is wow. I'm lost for words. So let's not waste any more time and get straight into the review. The unboxing experience is very simple. You get the smartphone, a charging cable, some documentation, and a SIM ejector tool. Honestly, the first time I picked up this device, I was low-key blown away by how light it is, coming in at only 201 grams. It's actually the lightest foldable that Samsung's ever made. I can't remember the last time I rocked a white color smartphone, but this has such a polished finish. The cream really strikes out in a good way. You can also get the Z Fold 8 in graphite, lavender, and pistachio, which is a Samsung online exclusive color. When folded, the Z Fold 8 is 9.7mm, and when unfolded, it is 4.5mm, which is basically the thickness of a passport, which is what everyone is comparing against the Z Fold 8. Now let's take a proper look at the Z Fold 8, starting with the design. New this year is the Flex Titanium technology, a dual titanium layer under the display to reinforce the hinge and cut down on the crease. Crucial in order to withstand the thousands of times that you will be doing this. In terms of the crease, Samsung did an amazing job because it is barely noticeable to the eye and to the touch. You can only really see it with the display off. Moving on, the frame is made from aluminium and there's Gorilla Glass ceramic on the front display and Gorilla Glass Victus 2 at the back. The edges have also slightly been curved, making it easier to get a grip and open. Small change, but big benefits for something that you do multiple times in a day. Surprisingly, the Z Fold 8 is IP48 dust and splash resistant, but I don't think I'm gonna test it out. I'll take Samsung's word for it. Now to the display. Or should I say, displays. Starting with the outside cover screen, it's a 5.5-inch display in a 10:16 aspect ratio with a resolution of 1264 by 1448. It's actually really nice to use the cover screen because it's like having a mini phone. It reminds me a lot of the time I used the iPhone 13 mini. The one-hand ergonomics of the cover screen is also unbeatable. I can reach every corner of the display with just my thumb. The best part is, the cover screen doesn't feel like an afterthought. It's really the display I first interact with whenever I reach for the phone. Moving to the inside, you get a larger 7.6-inch main screen in a 4:3 aspect ratio with a resolution of 1828 by 2584. Having a display in a 4:3 aspect ratio is quite interesting. It's generally a shorter but wider shape, making it perfect for viewing a lot of things on screens such as spreadsheets and of course multitasking with two apps side by side. Turning the inner display vertically also makes it feel like an e-reader, and it's quite enjoyable in this orientation because of the aspect ratio and the lightness of the device. Even for watching videos, it's still great because the black bars aren't as prominent as compared to what you would get on the Z Fold 8 Ultra. Do note that when unfolded, both speakers are on the left side, so the audio only comes from one side. Just had a thought, this inner display is the exact aspect ratio to watch IMAX films, just like Christopher Nolan's latest release, The Odyssey. Both the outside and inside display have a maximum brightness of 3000 nits, making it very usable in outdoor situations. The ability of the Z Fold 8 to be small and normal when you don't need more, but the second that you do, it transforms to something big and immersive, is truly remarkable. And you know what else has been great on the inner display? Gaming. But let me be straight with you, I haven't had much time to play games on the Z Fold 8, but I did re-download Stardew Valley, and I gotta say, the inner display was made for this game. It's such an immersive and easy to play experience in this 4:3 aspect ratio. Definitely brought back a ton of nostalgia, and I can see myself being addicted to finishing this game as soon as I have some free time, most likely during my upcoming long-haul flight to Las Vegas. Anyway, foldable tech has come a really long way. I mean, being this tin is already amazing, but Samsung did not disappoint in the specs. Under the hood, it's running the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 and my unit is the one with 12GB of memory and 256GB of storage. I know that playing Stardew Valley doesn't do this processor justice, but you'll be glad to know that I've also edited a few videos using LumaFusion and the Z Fold 8 did not stutter at all. And guess what? The 4:3 aspect ratio display again feels like it was made for editing vertical videos on the go. I mean, just look at how perfect this setup is with the vertical video preview taking the full vertical length of the display on the side. Now for the battery. It's a bit interesting because finally Samsung is using a silicon carbon battery. How else would you fit a 4800 mAh battery in something this thin? In terms of numbers, the Z Fold 8 is rated for up to 26 hours of video playback. For charging, there's been some improvements from last year. You get a much faster 45 watts wired charging and 20 watts wireless charging. The OS running is Samsung's One UI 9, which is based on Android 17, and to put it simply, it's been smooth and stable throughout my testing time. This is the benefit of a mature operating system that has been fine-tuned over the years. Every interaction with the OS is smooth. I especially like how effortless it is to run multiple apps on the inner display. This, without a doubt, is one of the craziest productivity hacks out there. I usually have some sort of media playing in the background while I get some stuff done like composing emails or writing notes. Now I can do it side by side natively on the device itself. It's so good. You can actually run 3 apps simultaneously. Technically 4 with 1 app hovering, but I find that 2 apps is the sweet spot and anything more has like diminishing returns. In terms of app support, almost all that I've used have been playing well with both displays. You do get some apps like Shopee that are okay on the cover screen but just not optimized for the inner display, but that's honestly a developer problem. Also, it's worth noting that flex mode isn't available on this phone. You can't really use it in a half open state. Now let's check out the cameras. You get a wide and ultra wide at the back, both being 50 megapixels. I took a ton of photos using both cameras and I'm genuinely happy with the outcome. The colors are true to life with a hint of extra contrast. I remember a few years back how much more inferior Android smartphone photos were compared to the iPhone. Skin tones are also great and the sharpness, especially in portrait mode, is handled really well. The cover screen preview is also an amazing feature that allows you to take high quality selfies with the perfect framing using the better rear cameras. Unfortunately, there is no telephoto lens. Not a total deal breaker, but it would have been a really nice to have feature. In fact, I would probably have that instead of the ultra wide camera. You do have digital zoom that goes up to 10x, but anything after 4x starts getting very mushy. And let's not forget about the 2 selfie cameras. Yes, there's 2. Both the cameras on the cover screen and inner display are 10 megapixels. Here's a side-by-side portrait selfie with the rear camera for comparison. It's not bad, but the rear camera definitely wins. You can really see it around the edges of the subject. With the cover screen preview, I would just stick to always using the rear cameras for my selfies. For video, you can record up to 8K 30, but I usually shoot between 4K 30 or 60. The videos come out looking great as well. Maybe it looks a little over-processed, but here's the cool part. You have a pro video mode for manual settings and you can also shoot in log. As a solo content creator, I can see myself shooting videos with the rear camera and cover screen preview feature. It's like having a monitor that will help me with the framing. So useful. So I've had the Z Fold 8 for about 2 weeks now, and I gotta say, it's been a while since a smartphone has made me this excited. Samsung has honestly perfected the foldable smartphone with this release. Back then, you would have to make major compromises if you wanted to use a fold or flip phone. But now, I don't feel like it's lacking in any aspect compared to a traditional smartphone. Well, other than the price, but technically you could say that you're paying for both a smartphone and tablet. So the starting price of $1,899 doesn't seem too far-fetched. Plus, Samsung always runs promos, especially now at its release, and they also have an amazing trade-in program. I also had the opportunity to show the Z Fold 8 to some of my friends and all of them were genuinely impressed by it. Other than being affordable, the new shape is something that fits really well in your hand. It's something that just clicks the moment you hold on to it. But No device is perfect, and after daily driving the Z Fold 8, I have some thoughts. Firstly, under heavy load, the phone does get hot, specifically at the back towards the top. I really do hope that this is something that can be managed with a future software update. Secondly, this phone is impossible to use on a flat surface. The camera bump is just too massive, and even with an official Samsung case, it doesn't help. Thirdly, no magnets at the back. The phone supports wireless charging, but there's no positioning magnets, so wireless chargers that are standing would not work unless you get a case that comes with the magnets. Lastly, this phone without a case has been so slippery. It doesn't help that a foldable is already a relatively fragile device, but also being slippery is just asking for trouble. With that being said, I would not give this phone up. For me, the pros far outweigh the few cons that I mentioned just now. In fact, just by using a thin case, I have fixed the problem of the phone not having magnets and being slippery. Plus, adding some protection. If you've been on the fence about getting a foldable, this is the time to get one. Like I said just now, Samsung has basically made the foldable smartphone without any compromise. In your pocket, you have both a smartphone and a tablet. You don't have to choose between the two devices because both of them are always with you, ready to adapt to whatever you're doing. The best of both worlds. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye!